Imagine you're just cruising high above the American Midwest. The weather is absolutely perfect, you're sipping a cup of coffee, and then, literally in the blink of an eye, the very physics of your reality are violently rewritten. Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and break down the catastrophic events of United Airlines Flight 232. It's a story that absolutely tests the limit of human ingenuity.
So we're starting right in the thick of it at 37,000 feet. A massive explosion has just rocked the plane, and DC-10 flight instructor Denny Fitch? Well, he's just realized the apocalyptic stakes of what's happening. See, Denny wasn't actually flying the plane. He was just sitting back in the cabin as a passenger, heading home. But being a seasoned expert on this exact aircraft, he looked out the window, analyzed how terrifyingly the plane was behaving, and instantly understood what most others didn't quite grasp yet. This wasn't just some bad turbulence. No, this was a death sentence.
And what makes this crisis even more gut-wrenching is that it happened to be a promotional Children's Day at United Airlines. Meaning, out of the 285 passengers on board, 52 of them were kids flying for just a single penny. It was supposed to be this joyous, super easy 2-hour hop from Denver to Chicago. The cabin was packed with families, completely unaware of the mechanical time bomb ticking away at the rear of the aircraft.
Just look at how quickly things escalate here. It brilliantly illustrates the sheer whiplash everyone experienced. I mean, 1 minute flight attendants are serving coffee in perfect calm, the next second, wham, a sudden explosive bang. Coffee cups are flying, passengers are slammed against their armrests, and the entire airframe just violently shudders for 10 agonizing seconds. In a heartbeat, you go from total calm to a desperate fight for survival.
Through the eyes of passenger Jerry Schummel, you can really feel the unadulterated terror in that cabin. There were no warning bells, no flashing lights, just this massive explosion ripping through the aircraft. Meanwhile, up in the cockpit, First Officer Bill Records desperately unplugs the autopilot to take manual control, shouting, "I have it. What was that?" But as he grips the control wheel, he makes a chilling discovery. The plane is completely ignoring his commands.
So Captain Al Haynes and his crew quickly identify the source of that blast. Their number 2 engine has blown apart. Now, the DC-10 has 3 engines, and this one is mounted high up on the tail. Standard emergency procedure here is to shut down the failed engine so it doesn't tear itself apart and cause more damage. But pulling the throttle on number 2 doesn't stop the nightmare. The plane just continues aggressively banking to the right, and if a heavy commercial airliner rolls completely onto its back, it loses all lift and drops out of the sky like a rock.
Here's the absolute crucial point. That explosion in the tail didn't just destroy the engine, it completely severed the aircraft's hydraulic lines. You can think of the hydraulic system as the lifeblood and the muscle of an airplane. It provides the immense pressure you need to move the flaps and rudders that physically steer the plane. Without that fluid, the pilot's control wheels were completely physically disconnected from the wings. Literally, you could turn the wheel as hard as you wanted and absolutely nothing would happen. Aircraft designers know how critical hydraulics are for sure. That's exactly why the DC-10 has 3 entirely independent hydraulic systems. If one fails, the other 2 act as a backup. But the shrapnel from this explosion had incredibly managed to sever all 3 lines simultaneously. As you can see by the staggering number, losing all 3 systems at once was considered a 1 in a billion chance. It was an event so mathematically impossible, pilots were never ever even trained for in simulators. I really love this analogy because it perfectly explains raw human instinct. Think about driving a car. If you hit black ice and start sliding, nobody lets go of the steering wheel, right? That is exactly what happened at 37,000 feet. Even though the pilots knew the control columns were completely dead, their hands remained white-knuckled on those yokes. The plane was banking further and further right, and they were pulling the wheel all the way into their laps, turning hard left, just desperately praying that a few drops of hydraulic fluid were left somewhere in the system to save them. Okay, so realizing the flight controls were entirely useless, the crew had to literally invent a new way to fly a 300-ton aircraft right on the spot. They figured out they could manipulate the thrust of the 2 remaining wing engines to force the plane to respond. Push the throttles forward, the nose pitches up. Pull them back, the nose drops. By alternating the thrust, running one engine slightly hotter than the other, they found this violently unstable but functioning way to steer the drifting aircraft.
Now remember Denny Fitch, the off-duty DC-10 instructor we talked about in the back? Well, he sends word to the cockpit offering his help, and the desperate flight crew gladly accepts. Fitch formally transitions from a terrified passenger to a critical crew member. Standing right between Captain Haynes and First Officer Records, his sole, exhausting job becomes expertly managing those 2 engine throttles. He's constantly, physically pushing and pulling them every single second, just trying to keep the wings level and prevent a fatal dive.
Air traffic control directed them toward an emergency landing at the airport in Sioux City, Iowa. But as this breakdown highlights, they were caught in a terrifying aerodynamic trap. To get on to the correct heading toward the runway, they needed to turn left, but the damaged aircraft flatly refused to bank left without risking a fatal stall. So what's their only option? Execute continuous, agonizing 360-degree right turns. But with every single right turn, the nose would violently drop, costing them thousands of feet of altitude in a matter of seconds.
As they drop closer to the Earth, less than 10 minutes from the airport, Captain Haynes keys the microphone and delivers this chillingly honest announcement to the cabin. He refuses to sugarcoat the reality of their plummeting aircraft. He tells the 285 souls on board that they have almost no control, that it is going to be a crash landing, and that they need to brace for an impact worse than anything they could ever imagine. It's just a moment of profound, sobering leadership in the face of near-certain death.
Now, what's really terrifying here is the math. A normal DC-10 lands at a manageable 120 to 140 knots, with wing flaps extended to create drag and lift. But Flight 232, they had no hydraulics to lower those flaps. To keep from just falling out of the sky, they had to maintain a blistering speed of well over 200 knots. Arriving that fast means your margin for error is non-existent, and the physical force of the impending impact on the runway is going to be absolutely massive. Desperate to shed even a fraction of that lethal speed, the crew tries one last trick. Without hydraulics to lower the heavy landing wheels, they execute this desperate manual maneuver in the cockpit. They drop the doors and just pray gravity will swing the heavy metal gear down and lock it into place. Miraculously, they get all green lights. The gear locks, and the drag from the wheel shaves a tiny bit of speed off the aircraft, though they're still traveling nearly 70 knots faster than they ever should be.
While the pilots are up front battling the unrelenting physics of the aircraft, what actually goes through your mind in the back of the plane? Well, passenger Jerry Schemmel accepted that his death was likely imminent, saying "I love you" to his family in his head. But then, this incredible resolve kicks in. He promises himself, if by some miracle he survives the initial impact, he won't panic and he won't flee. He commits to staying in the burning wreckage to help other passengers. It's a profound display of character in the face of the absolute end.
Out the cockpit window, the runway is finally in sight. From a cruising altitude of 37,000 feet, the crippled plane has miraculously corkscrewed its way down to just 1,600 feet. The engines are screaming at near full power just to keep the wingless, flapless aircraft in the sky, and every single person on board is braced in the crash position. At this exact moment, they are entirely dependent on the sheer willpower, the raw instinct, and the microscopic throttle adjustments of the exhausted men in the cockpit.
With the aircraft plummeting toward the Earth at over 200 knots and the pilots fighting a machine that mathematics dictates simply cannot be flown, we reach the climax of this explainer. I'm actually going to leave you right here with the DC-10 screaming toward the tarmac in Sioux City. But I highly encourage you to research the final historic outcome of this incredible battle. Because when mathematical certainty dictates total destruction, how far can human ingenuity push back against impossible odds? What happens next will completely astound you. Until next time, keep questioning and keep learning.